Good morning, Amington Heath. Today we're going to be using our place values skills to help us to convert between measurements. When we're converting between metric measurements, we're dividing by 10, 100 and 1000, or we might be multiplying by 10, 100 and 1000. I've done a little chart down here just to help you to remember. You can see that to convert from millimetres to centimetres, I need to divide by 10. To convert between centimetres to metres, I need to divide by 100. And if I've got metres and I want to convert it to kilometres, I need to divide that by 1000. That then works the opposite way, where if I've got kilometres and I want to change it into metres, I multiply by 1000. If I've got metres and I want to change them into centimetres, I times by 100. And if I've got centimetres and I want to change them into millimetres, I would times by 10. So we're going to go through a few examples so that you can see exactly what it is that I mean. We're going to start off with 5 centimetres. So I'm going to use my place value chart and I want to convert these 5 centimetres into millimetres. So I'm going to put my 5 into my place value chart, and I know that if I want to convert from centimetres to millimetres, I am going to find it here and I need to multiply by 10. So I'm going to use my place value knowledge. I know that if I've got to multiply by 10, I have to move it one place to the left on a place value chart to give me that answer. So I have 5, I'm timesing by 10, so I'm moving that digit one place to the left. My 5 ends up in my tens column, and then I must remember to put my 0 into my ones column to hold the place. So I can see now that from having 5 centimetres, timesing it by 10, that means I have 50 millimetres. Okay, so that's step 1. Now, if I then had, let's say, 4 metres, and I wanted to convert this into centimetres. Okay, I'm going to start in the same place as I did. I've got 4 metres, so I'm going to start in my ones column. But to convert from metres into centimetres, I'm going to multiply by 100. So I know that I need to move that 2 places to the left. And we've got that little reminder because we've got that 2 zeros in our 100. 2 places to the left, my number's getting bigger. So I'm going to move each digit 1 and then 2 places to the left-hand side. Put my 4 in my hundreds column, and then I need to remember again to put those zeros in to hold the place in my tens and my ones column. So 4 metres is equivalent to 400 centimetres. And that would work exactly the same if you had a decimal number. So say I began with 3.8 metres, I would have my decimal point there. There's my 8 in my tenths column. I would still move each of my digits 2 places to the left. So I'm going to take my 3, move it 1, and then 2, that puts it into my hundreds column, and then I would take my 8, move it 1, and then a second one, that lands it in my tens column, and there's nothing else after that, but I need to remember to put my 0 into my ones column to hold the place again, which means 3.8 metres became 380 centimetres. And then finally, you just take those away. It's exactly the same. Put this back in. Exactly the same if I'm converting from metres to kilometres. So say, for example, that I had 6.4 kilometres and I wanted to change that into metres. I'm still going to use my multiplication skills and my place value understanding. This time I've got to times it by 1000. So my 6.4, my original measurement, goes into the ones and the tenths column. And then I move each of those digits 3 places this time to the left hand side. So 1, 2, 3 into my thousands column. My 4, 1, 2, 3 into my hundreds column. I've no more digits to move, so I put my 2 zeros in there to hold the place, and that would give me 6,400 metres. Okay, so to convert the other way, it works in virtually exactly the same way, except this time you're moving to the right when you move your digits. So for example, if we began with 900 metres, and I want to change this time into kilometres. Okay, so I'm going to start with my 900. And I'm going to look down onto my chart, and to convert between metres and kilometres, I need to divide by 1000. So if I'm dividing by 1000, I'm going to jump 3 places to the right with each of my digits, starting with my ones. So that's going to go 1, 2, and if there was another column there, my thousandths column, I would put my 0 there, 3, and this one, 1, 2, 3, and then finally my 9, 1, 2, 3. Now here is where my decimal point goes. And because these 2 zeros are after the decimal point and they're at the end of the number, in actual fact, we don't put those on when we write them down. So in actual fact, my 900 metres becomes 0, because I have no ones, 0.9. And we don't write down the 2 zeros at the end of the number if they are after the decimal point. Okay, so 900 metres would become 0.9. Then if I wanted to convert from centimetres into metres, for example, I might have 420 centimetres, and I want to know how much this is in metres. I'm going to look on my chart again, and I'm dividing by 100. So 420 centimetres, convert it to metres, dividing by 100, 2 zeros. So I need to hop those 2 places to the right hand side. I'm dividing it by 10 and divide it by 10 again. So there's my 0, 1, and then 2, and then 1 and 2 over that decimal point. But remember, the decimal point does not move. The decimal point always stays in the same place. And then finally 1 and 2. Okay, so I've ended up with 4.20, but again, I don't need to write down that 0 because it's after the decimal point. So I will convert that to 4.2 metres. And then finally, on this section, if I wanted to convert from millimetres to centimetres, this time I'm going to divide by 10. So if I had 36 millimetres, and I want to convert that into centimetres, I'm going to move these 1 place to the right because I'm dividing by 10. So I've got 1 there, my 6 is going to land there, and move my 3 1 place to the right again. I now know that 36 millimetres is the equivalent to 3.6 centimetres. Okay, so to begin with, when you've got your problems, you might just have some that you're being asked to convert these measurements from one thing to the other, and that's what you need to remember in order to do it. Or you can go back to the beginning of this video, because I'm going to rub it off now. Now, you've also got some problem solving to have a go at. So you're going to have to apply your learning, because once you've got the hang of that, I think you'll find that quite straightforward. But you might have problems to do where you're being asked to convert between measurements. So one of the first things that you need to check is that your measurements are the same, that if you've been asked one thing in centimetres, another thing in metres, you need to convert them to both metres or both centimetres. It doesn't really matter which, it's whichever you find easiest or whichever is most logical. So for instance, if I have a CD rack, okay, I have a CD rack. Each CD I own is 10 millimetres wide. Okay, my rack is 9 centimetres wide. So you can see I've got 2 different measurements there, 2 different types of measurements there. Can I fit my 10 CDs into the rack? So there's a couple of steps that we're going to need to do here. The first thing that we need to identify is, or to recognise, is the fact that we've got CDs in 10mm, so we've got millimetres as a measurement, and we've got a rack that's written down in centimetres. So that's going to make it a little harder. So the first thing that I need to realise is that they're different and that I need to convert them so that they are both the same. So I'm going to change my CDs into, I'm going to go for my millimetres, I think, into centimetres. So I've got 10mm for each CD and I've got 10 CDs. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find out the total width of all my CDs. So if I said 10 multiplied by 10, so I've got 10 CDs, 10mm wide each one. That means altogether my CDs are 100mm wide. Okay, now I need to know how much that is in centimetres. So I'm going to use my place value chart, draw that out quickly. There's my thousands, my hundreds, my tens, my ones. I suppose I might need my tenths, so I'll pop that on just in case. There's my decimal point between my ones and my tenths, and I have got 100mm. Okay, and I know to convert this to centimetres, I'm going to need to divide it by 10. So I'm going to move all of my digits one place to the right hand side. So that means the 1 goes there, the 0's there, and the 0's there. So that means that my 100mm is the equivalent, millimetres, not metres, is the equivalent to 10 centimetres. Okay, I didn't need that 0 because it's after the decimal point again. So my 100mm is the equivalent to 10 centimetres. Now I should be able to work out whether or not my CDs are all going to fit into the rack. So if I go back to the problem, it says my rack is 9 centimetres wide. So now actually I know that my CDs aren't all going to go into that rack at all. So no, they are not going to fit. And I could even go on to explain that they're too wide. And if I was really putting my brain into gear for this one, I'd recognise that actually if my rack is 9 centimetres wide, that means that I could fit 9 of my CDs in there and that I would have 1 left over. So I hope that helps. Remember to go back to the beginning of the video if you've forgotten how many millimetres go into centimetres and so on, the conversions that you need to do. Use those place value skills that you've got. And if you've got any other problems or you need any more help, then don't forget to drop us an email and we'll do what we can to help you. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.